All right, in studio right now, 8:37. Good morning. Is the county executive Tony Pacini. You've ruffled some feathers after yesterday's speech.
Good morning.
Got a lot of people talking out there. Good morning.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So one of the key issues has been that you talked about was consolidation.
Right.
And you gave the numbers. Do you have them on the top of your head?
Some of them are real easy. It's the one county government, 3 cities, 26 towns, 17 villages, 30 school districts, 26 fire districts, 90 lighting districts, and then I think there's 116 other special districts.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which amount to 345 districts.
And that's just Oneida County.
Right, just Oneida County.
If you were to take the region, it would be out of control.
I didn't even look at those numbers.
So are we now to the point where we really seriously have to consider, and it's hard for people because,
it is.
This is my community, this is my garbage service, this is my brother who works for the DPW in my town. That's a lot of what this is about.
Well, it is, and it's really about what services do you want to continue to have, because I really believe we're at a point, and whether it's the county or whether it's the 2 cities or towns and villages, wherever, we can't keep sustaining the level of government that we have and keep property taxes under the 2% cap.
Right.
Share sales tax the way it's been. Look for, and nobody wants to consolidate or nobody wants to blend in different services other than, the county and the cities at times, and some of the towns. I mean, so.
What, some might question the county as a government agency has been so fiscally stable. You have reserves. You've done a great job. You've kept the taxes low. Some would wonder, you're doing well, but you're talking about all these financial troubles. Did something prompt this? Maybe a potential situation with a city, town, or village because you're doing really well financially.
Well, but I think as county executive and also as a county government, though, if the other governments are not doing well, that's not good for us either in terms of the whole scheme of things. So while the government finances on the county end and how we manage and how we become more efficient and effective and all of that is good, and I want to continue that, I'm still concerned about, and I have to be concerned in my role, and as the county legislature does as well, in the city of Utica, the county seat, the city of Rome, the second largest municipality, New Hartford, the area that has the greatest retail sector, Whitestown that has a lot of industry. So those are areas that I have to be concerned with as well. And even though we can keep our taxes low, if they can't and we're driving people out, that's still not going to help me. And it's not going to help, help the county in terms of growth and being able to continue to invest. Are we going to be able to fix the roads the way they need to be? Are we going to be able to fix bridges? Are we going to be able to invest in a sewer system that really is so important to not just the storms, but public health, safety? Those are issues that really concern me as I look forward, and those are things we've been tackling. But
look at Flint, Michigan. That could be us.
Well, when I look around at the levels of government and what they're investing in and what needs to be invested in, I really get concerned for the future. And as I said yesterday, if we're really concerned about that, as we always say we are, it's about the next generation. As we do most of these things that have that impact, we have to start considering it now. So can we continue to have various layers of public works, various layers of police, various layers of fires? Can they be blended departments in different ways in which costs can be reduced? And overall savings to people, but then investment too, because people, the plow example I thought was, I've been getting a lot of texts and emails from people and telling me about that story yesterday and the speech that we related to. It's real. It happens. And
get into that the plowing story.
Sure. Well, the plowing story. Yeah. What I said was the analogy I used at the address was, would you pay 5 different people to plow your driveway at the same time? And I talked about someone comes in, you pay them. Half hour later, another one comes in, another one goes by, and before it's all done, you've had 5 different plow drivers come in, plow the same patch of land.
Got it.
At least in that.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
It's a little, it's a little stretch, but it doesn't make sense. We started talking about this as we looked, and we talked about the points in New Hartford at the Genesee Street Bridge, Route 8 bridge right over Genesee Street that crosses right at the city of Utica and the village line. And if you stand on that bridge at any time when it's snowing, you will at one time or another see 5 different plows coming through in the same area.
Right.
You'll see the city of Utica coming up Genesee. You'll see the village coming through the village. You'll see the town going another way. You'll see the county coming through, passing through.
It's wasting so many different.
And we're paying for 5 different entities. When people wake up, and I've said this from the
it's
time
really
I took
well salted and plowed there.
Right,
though.
and I've said when I started in office that when you wake up in the morning and you don't look at that truck and say, whose seal is on that truck?
Right.
Who's doing that? As long as my road is plowed, as long as it's cleared and it's safe, that's what I want. Yeah. And the same thing goes for paving, and the same thing goes for the cleaning of the road, the ditching, the other stuff. So those are one example, but that's just on one area.
Right.
We could
well,
talk
you
about
mentioned
that with multiple
sports.
areas.
You mentioned entertainment. You mentioned
that was another piece.
Tourism.
Sure.
Are you see an end to the Tourism Bureau or taking it over?
I don't see an end to it. I see the ability to, as I said yesterday, and look, this was an idea. I can't take all credit for it. I mentioned it. Rob Esch came to me and we started talking as we were developing and as the auditorium area, and he started looking at development in that general area. What else could be done? And we looked at the legislation, the authority itself, and we have the Oneida County Sports Authority that oversees Bernayne Field, and it's like, what about the blending of that? And then what's the next step? It's entertainment, it's tourism, it's things that we do in separate silos.
Yep.
Why aren't we putting them together in a better way? And by putting them together, can we maximize more revenue, generate more activity, and also look at ways in which, again, we're sharing administrative functions, we're sharing promotional functions, we're sharing overall investment.
Well, this all began when travel was an issue, right? All these governments started, and it was tough to get that horse from point A to point B.
Sure.
Well, today we're so regional today, more so than ever before. People are traveling to work. It just seems to make sense, but we've watched the possibilities of consolidation with fire companies, right? Whitestown, that whole Whitesboro, and who else is involved in that? New York Mills, Oriskany, and we've seen the potential school mergers, and we've seen it happen in the Valley. It's very difficult. People they want things to remain the same. And by the way, I don't want to pay any more in taxes.
Sheriff Maciel and I went through this about, I think it's probably longer than that. It was at least 3 or 4 years ago when the Yorkville was trying to, or was looking to eliminate their police department, and the sheriff offered, as a part of it under a contract, again, there are costs related to it, but it's still less expensive than what you have in terms of dedicated patrols that would satisfy the needs of a community. He and I went there and to a town hall meeting, and it was like we were walking into a gated community. That it was just the mindset of you can't come in here and this is how we want it. Now that's all well and good. Then you're going to have to pay more, and you're going to have and is that what you want though? Then it can't have it both ways. You can't say cut services, but nobody else wants to blend it.
Well, look what's going on right now in Syracuse, in Onondaga County, where the governor came out and said, listen, I gave you this money because you're going to consolidate. And now you're saying you're not going to. I can take the money away.
Well, they put a big part of their plan, and I had talked to Rob Simpson, who's heads up the Center State Economic Opportunities out there that oversees that, and talked about that, and yes, that was a big part of their plan. To looking at a major consolidation. I mean, that's major when you're looking at folding a city like Syracuse. But when you look at what Syracuse has gone through over the last several years, they are having some very difficult times.
Ed Hanna proposed this with Utica many years ago. I think it might have been during a rant.
So,
but,
But when you look at that and see what they've invested in and what they believed as part of their upstate revitalization, that was a big component. And if it doesn't go through, I don't know what's going to happen. But
maybe Oneida County gets the money after all.
That would be nice. But I think looking at that's why I did Argo a few years ago, and I spoke of that yesterday. And we nibbled at the edges, as I said. We saved some money with certain districts, but I also used the example of Bridgewater and Prospect. Those are two villages that nothing changed.
Right.
You still live in Prospect. You still live in Bridgewater. Yeah, and things can blend in.
You can continue to keep your identity.
Sure.
The fear is that Uncle Joe's going to lose his job.
Well, I mean, the job aspect of it is obviously always something that comes to the top right away.
Yeah.
It's about that protection. But there are ways in which, again, we've shed 250 employees since I've been in office.
Right.
I mean, and in terms of positions, and some that we actually laid off and sent out the door. It's not easy to do, and I understand that. But it goes back to the level of services. I mean, you can't look at us and say, don't raise taxes, cut the sales tax, do this, do all these other things, and continue to provide all the services that you have.
Tom is on the line with a question. We'll do that. We're on with County Executive Anthony Piseni. A few more questions, if you don't mind. I'll take a quick break. We'll come right back here. Hold tight. 8:49 at WIBX.